Welcome to the Norm Hyperbolic Podcast. We're here to talk anime, video games, and movies. I am your host, X, also known as Young Morgan Freeman. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Kid Lewis.
What up? This is your favorite menace to our society, Kid Lewis. Welcome back to the Hyperbolic Podcast. On this episode, we're going to dive into the world of Fire Force and talk a little bit about voice acting. To get this episode kicked off, we have a special guest joining us. Please give a warm welcome to actress, dancer, singer, and of course, amazing voice actress, Sarah Roach.
Woo!
Hello. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. You're our first,
real celebrity.
yeah, guest who's not just, our neighbors.
Yeah.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Super looking forward to this. I kind of teased this episode a little long ago, but
he's been talking about it nonstop.
I know, off
Awesome.
air.
Every time,
Yes.
who's going to come on the podcast?
So like Lewis said, in this episode, we are going to be talking about Fire Force. Season 3 is coming back, so kind of just, bigging up hype about that. Also in this episode, we're going to be talking about Universal Studios has a new anime collaboration. D&D has some updates that they're doing for the end of the year. And Avatar The Last Airbender is doing a season 2 casting call. So, and then we also have some questions for our special guest, Sarah Roach, at the end of the podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave us a like. If you're listening to us on your podcast platform of choice, remember to leave us 5-star reviews with that compliment sandwich. But let's go ahead and get into the episode. Start off with last week's news today.
Go for it, bro.
All right, so first, in the realm of anime. So Universal Studios Japan announced on their Twitter last year that they are going to be doing a collaboration with Chainsawman. Chainsawman is getting pretty big. It's not your traditional shonen, but
it's not. It's very
for sure.
But it's big enough, to get this collaboration. I know they have Six Flags in Texas, but are you a real seeker, Sarah? Do you go to theme parks or?
I like theme parks. I stay off the bigger rides. I think I was just not made for those.
For the G-Force?
But no. I try and it doesn't go well for me. But I do like theme parks. I've been to Universal in Florida. I've been to Disney World, Six Flags, all that.
Yeah.
So I like the kind of, I want to go to the Super Nintendo World, the kind of themed stuff is so fun.
So we do have plans to go to Japan next year in May. Fingers crossed.
Oh, nice.
Nothing concrete yet. Just in our hearts, we want to go out there.
Yeah.
We gotta put it up to the up in the world and then
put out into the world and then we will go.
Yes.
So it is only in Japan that they're doing this chainsaw crossover. We talked about in a previous episode if we didn't know if they did Halloween Horror Nights out there. Mm-hmm. So I looked it up. They do.
Oh, okay,
they do
nice.
have Halloween Horror Nights in Japan.
Nice.
Universal. So
that's cool.
That's really cool
stuff over there. I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the parks that they do have, so they have Jurassic Park and Harry Potter like we do in Orlando, and then they have Nintendo World, but so does the Universal in California.
I think we're getting one over here pretty soon, right?
Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I thought we were. Huh.
I mean, that'd be dope, but I haven't seen anything. Like the last time I went, so Universal Studios is my favorite of the parks. So I do like Magic Kingdoms and all that, but Universal, or even how we have Busch Gardens, but
Islands of Adventure over Universal Studios?
I want to say yeah.
Just because they have all the superheroes.
Just because of superheroes. So I like superheroes, so that's kind of like my bias. But they also have the Mummy, and you still have Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter World is awesome. And Universal and Islands of Adventure.
Yeah. In Japan, they've done anime collabs before with My Hero, Neon Genesis, and even Attack on Titan. They had a little spot that they redress in anime. So they didn't really announce if it was going to be Halloween Horror Nights or not. I think that it is, but
that'd be cool.
That would be sick.
Even if it is just a little world or a VR interaction, that'd be pretty dope. And we love Chainsaw Man here. But all right, then next in the realm of video games. So I almost cut video game news just because video game news is so hard to pull always. But I have this angle on it with our special guest, Sarah Roach.
Go for it, man.
Oh.
So Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro announced that they're going to be doing some D&D updates later this year, September. So do you play D&D, Sarah? Have you ever played it? Are you familiar with it at all? Or
I am somewhat familiar with it. I haven't played yet, but I've been wanting to kind of get into it because it seems super fun. I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan, so I kind of have a little bit of, knowledge about general stuff, but I'm really wanting to get into it because it looks so fun.
It's super fun, and I think you would like it. So lately I've been talking a lot about D&D just because I've been playing a lot of D&D as a voice actress and just someone who has such a big personality. I think that you would make a wonderful D&D character.
Oh, thank you.
So that's my issue with D&D. I'm a DM right now, but I can't really do accents. Like I get with an accent and then it ends up changing by the end of the session. So like I am just really bad at that. I can do the storytelling, but I'm like a one trick, kind of all these like the bartender sounds the same as the horse, and all these bad guys sound Jamaican or whatever. It's like that's the only accent I can do.
Nice.
So they're redoing it though. They're adding stuff to it. They didn't go into full details about what they're adding, just like little snips. They're like redoing some of the classes, some of the feats, making like your backgrounds interact with your character a little bit different than before, and they're making it more accessible for newbies. Because the way you play D&D is like you have the player's handbook and you kind of go off of that, but that it's almost like a dictionary. So you can't really learn English through a dictionary. You kind of have to like know what to put together or whatever. So the way they're redoing it is they're kind of like hand holding you into like this world that is D&D. So
it's
cool.
If anybody's on the fence of like if they should play or not, definitely this year is like the year to play.
The year to get into it.
Perfect.
And I'm trying to get Lewis on a campaign.
One of these days.
And then we'll bring it to the podcast, and then we'll D&D live on air or whatever.
Nice.
And then last, in the realm of movies, Netflix is working on season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Have you seen the live action Avatar?
Yes, I have.
On Netflix? Okay, so what did you think about it? Because Lewis has heard mixed opinions about it, and whenever they do like live action of something, it's kind of like met with resistance. But
I think they're for any live action thing, there's like some things that work and some things that maybe don't translate as well. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like I was entertained. It wasn't the most flawless show I've ever seen, but I thought it was fun.
It does have a 60% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is 73. So it seems like fans overall who go out of their way generally liked it.
It's not bad. I know a lot of the actors that play in that in the Avatar are brand new actors, and you can kind of sense that they're still new to the acting world. So I think that's a little bit of the downfall for me. It does kind of divert from the main story a little bit, just kind of little things here and there that poke out to me. But besides that, like you said, it is very enjoyable. It's not like bad, like horrifically bad, and you're just like, no, skip.
Yeah, well,
I didn't get through the first episode.
Well, it seems like most people like it, and it is mixed. But
75% is a C. That's still past
75. Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
That's the audience score. But like you said, maybe because of the actors are so new, that's why the critics are being a little harsh on it. But not as harsh as the true diehard fans, which is like one little thing has changed. They're like, no, that this is like obsolete.
Out of those two scores, being the audience and the critics, which one do you normally go for? Like when you see that like on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that? Like
I try to make my own opinion. I try to stay away from, I know we do reviews and things like that. So besides our reviews, but I kind of don't try to go for reviews. I need to give my own opinion, but the way they have it broken down like this, that makes more, or that gives me more information about how it could be than if I just had one score or the other. So the fact that the audience says this, but the critics say this, I kind of like meet in the middle. Like it's probably a blend of both. But,
totally.
So they
I'm kind of the same. I look at the audience score, but also the critics score to kind of see like, I don't know, it's like two different perspectives, and I can like see it from both ways, but also just kind of make my own like opinion.
It's even like, if like your friends are telling you to go watch something, like my friends who like spooky stuff, I know that they're going to be like recommending like really artsy stuff. So versus like my friends who like just like the Michael Bay stuff, or I don't say like junk food, but like really action heavy things. And if they say it's like really nice, then I know it's going to have a lot of action. Like we saw Mad Max Fury Road, not the new one, like the one with
the old with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy one. And they were talking about how nice it was, and we watched it for family movie night, and oh my god, that movie is so amazing.
It's so good.
I loved it. That me and my son were going crazy watching that movie. Like just like whoa, and yeah, nice. And I felt like I was at like a sports event. Watch this movie. So, but I knew it was gonna be like that. But then my artsy friends were like, I had no story. All of this is a big chase and da 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 da. So they didn't really like it. But because you're not supposed to critique it that hard, you're supposed to enjoy it. So that's where I come at it with those things. But so they are doing a casting call for an actor to play Toph, because she's going to be introduced in season 2. The way they did it, and maybe you can add to this, Sarah, about like looking for like an actor to play. They kind of casted a wide net by releasing it this big. I don't know if they posted on their Twitter, but they have it like as an open casting call. Like anyone can just apply to be Toph. So
wow. That's huge. I mean, especially for a studio like Netflix, usually it's just through like agencies and like small casting calls. So an open, like a really wide net that's like huge for Netflix. So I would say that would have a pretty good chance of finding, you know, a pretty solid fit for Toph.
Well, so the way they have it here, and I should have sent it to you, sir, so you're looking at the same thing, but character is mid-late teens, blind, female, Asian. So that's what they're saying about the character of Toph.
Okay.
I had you in mind for this character. I know, you know, Scarlett Johansson can play, what is it, Ghost in the Shell. I don't see why Sarah Roach couldn't be Toph. But
Thank you.
they have it in there as dance and or martial arts experience a plus. So, you know, Toph isn't really like a dancer, but do you know any martial arts?
I did, what karate did I do when I was younger? It was like some kind of like Fukai, I don't remember what it was, but I have some martial arts experience and just like experience. I feel like they're wanting like someone who knows how to kind of move their body. Right. And like if you can dance, usually you can pick up choreography, which means you might be able to like pick up those sort of martial arts movements and like the flow of it in a way that maybe someone who doesn't have dance experience might not.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of covering their bases there and just getting someone who's like very familiar with like movement and like how to move their body.
Well, because that's what, you know, whenever they're doing the fighting, you don't really have to know how to fight. Like it is just a dance between two characters, like pretending to hit each other or almost hit each other.
Totally.
But they also have here actors who are blind or low vision are encouraged to submit.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's another reason why they're trying to like do it real broad. I don't know how many like blind actors have an agent also. So maybe they are looking for somebody who is.
But I think that also opens up a huge pool for them. Besides just going out to agencies and, you know, whatever agency recommends, like, oh, we have this great actor. We have you're getting like rocks in the
Diamonds in the rough.
Diamonds in the rough. Yeah, totally.
So people with that could potentially be upcoming celebrities or great actors in the future that might not ever thought about acting. So that, like you said, that opens it up to everybody. So that's pretty cool.
My last question for that is for you, Lewis.
Yes.
Is so if they get somebody who is blind or low vision, like, because a complaint you said you had with the season was that it's a lot of inexperienced actors. But if this blind person is acting for the first time and they, you know, give off a good enough Toph that they think she can like grow with the role, how critical are you going to be of this blind person's acting as Toph?
Not as critical, especially to me. It's just more like you can sense and you can see the acting is still not like fully there. Like they're not committed or they're not the character. They're acting the character. You know, there's points where actors get to like they're just the character. You know what I mean? They're not themselves. They're like just engulfed into this character. So, but you can still see it when they're acting that it's like, okay, they're still brand new to this. But I mean, I wouldn't be too crucial or too critical about it. And I think it would be cool to have like an actual blind person to play the role.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of a person acting blind. Because then they're bringing that extra element of like naturalness to the character of like, yeah, I'm blind. It's what I've dealt with my whole life. So I don't have to act.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the news. Ready for the meat and potatoes?
You ready to grub, eat? You got your forks, your spoons, your knives?
We'll try not to burn the house down and call the fire department. But all right. So Fire Force or Blazing Fire Brigade, which is what I might title the episode.
Ooh.
It is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Atsushi Okubo, serialized in Weekly Shonen from 2015 to ending recently in February of 2022, collected in 34 volumes. The anime was adapted by David Productions. We had talked about them when they did our Cells at Work episode. So they do Cells at Work, they do JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and this anime that you were talking about, Undead Unluck.
Yes.
So they do that.
Oh, nice.
That's one that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Lewis, it sounds like, you know, cute and fun. I like the idea of it.
This could be cute and fun.
Well, it's like it's like an anime thing. You know, you have this guy who can't die and this girl who gives bad luck, and then they fall in love because, you know.
They don't really.
Well,
but in the beginning.
I will watch it. Love story. So they did season 1, started in 2019. 3 years later, season 2 in 2022, with season 3 announced, but no real release date of when it's actually coming. So, you know, rumors and speculations that it'll come summer, but, you know, we're almost in July and there's still no announcement yet.
Did you know the 21st was the beginning of summer.
21st of what, June?
Yeah,
That
it's
long?
technically the beginning of summer. Yeah, I saw that on Google. Fun
Oh.
fact.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which is crazy, right? Because it
Yeah, I don't
feels
know
like it's
why
been
that's
summer.
called. Yeah, the first day of summer.
yeah, because usually we get out of school at like May.
I know. So they still have time.
So yeah, I know. So they still have time.
It's just the beginning of summer, man. Don't be impatient.
I am so patient. I was like, when are they going to do this episode? I can't wait anymore. So we just had to do the interview. I couldn't wait any longer.
It's
I was
all
trying not to tell
good.
anybody. What? So there's a rumor that Studio Shaft might be actually doing the animation for season 3. My first question to you guys is your experience. So what did you think of Fire Force, as it was coming up? Or
Go ahead, Sarah. I'll let you go first.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
did you hear about it before you were casting it, or like what was your experience with it?
I didn't. I watched Soul Eater growing up, so I was kind of familiar with the artist's style and all that, but I had never heard of it, and so I was kind of looking into it and read a little bit of the manga before I auditioned. But it was like the more I read about it, the more I was like, this is the type of show that I would just like watch, regardless of whether or not I was in it.
Right.
Because I love shonen and I love just like action and all that cool stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I had never heard of it before, but I'm like super into it now.
Yeah, this was around the time where I wasn't really watching too much anime. Like I had just caught up to Naruto, believe it or not, at that time, and there were so many different shonens coming out. And I was like, okay, if I have to pick one or I pick a couple before I can just watch. So I had heard about it, but up until recently, I had never really like watched it. But if I was like growing up with this anime, this would be the anime that I'd watch. Like if I had seen this maybe before Naruto, it was on Toonami, which it is. This would have been like my favorite for sure.
I feel
What
you.
about it makes it your favorite? Is it
Just-
something that separates this from Naruto or Bleach or?
No, just so it is. So when we get into favorite characters and moments, I just love the characters and they are kind of all fun and funny. And something about this show specifically is like the effects. So it doesn't have like the Demon Slayer quality all the time, but like sometimes you can tell that they're adding like a lot to it. Whether the animation, I love the little
Sound
glow
effects.
that everybody has like, either in their eyes or in their suits, because the show is kind of dark with smoke, but then the fire really does shine through. So and the effects, or not the effects, the sound effects.
Yes.
Those are like they're really nice. Those are my
really
favorite
are.
parts of like blockbuster movies, but they have like them in this anime. So that's what would have made it my favorite. But what about you? Did you watch it when it was on air or?
No, I watched it when it was on air. Season 1 and season 2. Man, it was beautiful. I loved every single part of it. The story just kept getting better and better and better as it was. I've always talked about an anime having like a bunch of layers to it, and that's what makes it really great. Plot twist, and it's not just fighting. It's not like your regular Dragon Ball where it's just like who's the next person to beat.
Right. This one, no.
What's the next level up? You know what I mean? And we're just gonna like, or the Demon Slayer arc where it's just like the next demon, and they just keep getting stronger. We got to keep training. It's like there's more stuff going on, secret organizations in the background. I love all that stuff. It gives me a little bit of that Full Metal Alchemist vibes too.
Yeah.
Like there's something malignant happening in the background, and you're just trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, like the world is the
Yeah.
character, not just
Yeah.
the main protagonist.
Yeah.
Do you have any like so a question with that is do you have any like manga that you read that they haven't turned into anime that you're like, damn, I wish they would make this into an anime so I could be this character?
I've been reading more like web comics lately. I'm in like my web comic era. I don't know.
Well, because they are turning some web comics into anime as well.
That's true, like Solo Leveling and like all of that. Yeah. I would say there's this one that I read called The Broken Ring, and it's kind of like it's like a romance, but not really. And like the female protagonist has lived like multiple lives, and she keeps living this one life over and over and like changing what she does every time and gets kind of jaded to it. And I don't know, she's like really like layered and interesting and not kind of your typical female lead. And so I think she would be really, really fun to play. I don't know if they'll ever adapt it, but the art in it is like beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But I haven't been reading much manga lately as opposed to like webtoons. So I need to get back into the manga.
I had a question about the webtoon. Would you say, Sarah, that the webtoon's drawings are a little bit better than the manga or manga?
Because they have color.
They have color, they have more saturation, it's more eye pleasing.
I would say I think there's more detail in manga because they don't have that color, and so they kind of fill that out with more like details and sketching and shading. It is really nice to read the webtoons because it's so much color. Like I always got really excited whenever a new chapter would come out of like Naruto and like the first like page would be in color.
Right.
Some of them are like beautiful, but I think for the most part, they're not quite as detailed as manga because they do have that color that they can kind of like sort of get by with not doing as much detail, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I agree. That's why I like comic books too, because comic books does have kind of like best of both worlds, where they are very detailed, but they do still have those colors. And with manga, like the artist is also the writer. Whereas if you look at a comic book, even just to put out like 10 pages of a comic book, you have like the people who do just the pencils and the people who ink and then the people who color. Like these are like 4 or 5 different people sometimes. So a quote from the manga author is because you were talking about like what would I have liked about it growing up versus like ninjas, because I'm really big into samurai. So ninjas are the closest things you can kind of get to a samurai. Whereas like a firefighter is not the furthest thing from a samurai, but
I mean, you have Arthur. He
So
has some type of like samurai.
he's got like a samurai quality to him. A quote that he has is, "The firefighters who protect us are the true heroes who are next to us, like walking beside us every day." I really wanted to make a manga that gives them the focus, since they're the closest things we have to a hero, besides like if you want to include like people in the army or whatever, but like civilian heroes are these firefighters. I don't know, I have like one of my childhood friends, he's actually a firefighter right now, and it is a tough job being a firefighter. Like you do kind of have to be strong and brave or whatever, but then there's like a day to day, it's almost like being the police. Like you have to like answer these calls and go to people's houses and give them bad news, or assure them in a way, which is a good part of the show that I like. Like early on when they showed that they were like doing these different things, putting out these infernos, but they're like, "Oh, put your weapon away." He's like, what do you mean? It's my weapon." He's like, "No, but we're going to kill this guy's dad." But
some humanity to it.
Some humanity to like putting out, because you're not just putting water on a fire, you are
actually
like putting these people to rest. So that's what drew me to the show in the beginning.
What do you think about the whole nun aspect of it? Like the church and having the nun that does the prayers to like relieve their souls into heaven, or
I mean, I like it as far as like a layer. I know it kind of like goes on its head later on in the show, but that's what drew me to it. I thought she had like magic powers, but she was just like doing a prayer. So I'm like, that's very anime to bring this nun to this fire scene,
Totally.
And so favorite characters, favorite moments, starting with Sarah, excluding the obvious choice, but favorite characters, favorite moments.
Obvious choice, Maki. Love Maki. Anytime she gets to fight, I love when she's in the I don't remember what it's called, the underground. And she like fights that huge like dude with that big like flail thing. I love that one. I love the episode where we kind of get to meet her family and like see her like mom and dad and her brother and have this kind of like human like other side moment to her. I love Hinawa. Hinawa's my favorite. I feel like he's kind of slept on, but he has like a gun that he uses like fire powers with, and I feel like that's sick. I don't know. There's like one moment where he's like, it's the animation, it's like he's totally like shaded except his eye that's locked on his target. He's my fave. I love Hinama.
I think it's in that same collection of fights as well, where he's like fighting the other sniper like in the underground, and he shoots somebody early on in the anime, and I'm like with a real gun, but he just pulls some of the firepower out, so it's almost like a BB, and that's pretty dope.
It is.
I like their on play with the eyes. Like every character has like this kind of funky, cool looking eyes.
Yeah, like the little glow that they do.
Like my favorite character is Benimaru.
Okay.
So I love his eyes. The whole like X and circle. I think that's so
yeah.
It's cool.
It's almost like a Sharingan. He's almost got his own little
like,
a little bit.
I was like, does he have some type of like cool eye abilities? Because having an X and like he cancels fire, and then the other one he like emits. I know he's a hybrid where he has generation 2 and 3 mixed together, but I think he's a badass, man.
Yeah.
He's just like he's one of those like calm, quiet, like you wouldn't even know that he is the captain.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, bro, but when he shows off, he shows off.
No, for sure.
Like I think one of my favorite scenes is that fight in his hometown where he fights that that demon or fire demon that appears,
Yeah.
like just throws him up in the sky,
Mhm.
and then he just and that's where the best sound effect I've ever heard in any anime was when he like punches him or gives him some type of like hockey to his chest, and then you just hear that amazing like sound of
Like a
like
jet engine.
yes, man, and then he just
Yeah.
abbreviates the fire demon, and he's just like, I'm like, oh, I have never heard this anime. This was like out of the world. And this is what you
Totally.
mean, like they add that attention to detail, the sound effects, like they really put their backs into it, and you're just like, wow.
hmm
As a fan, you really appreciate those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never like noise. It is very, I mean, it's loud, but it's very like appropriately used. So I mean, my favorite character is Arthur. So I do like Shinra. He does so because he has like a nervous smile. And growing up,
Yeah.
I've always had like a nervous laugh. Like if I get really nervous or uncomfortable, I will laugh. And we're watching like movies and something bad will happen, and then I'll just blurt out like a little laugh because I'm trying to like calm myself down with being nervous. So
Yeah.
the
Is
fact
your
these guys,
laugh weird though? Because I feel like with
Huh?
Shinra, his smile is so awkward and like just evil looking. It's like he can't help it.
I've been told that
Yeah.
I have an evil laugh. So sometimes my laugh is a little bit evil sounding.
No.
But it is just, and then I hate when they call attention to it too. I've gotten better with it because like that's like the thing that I use to cope myself, and then now that
Mhm.
itself is under attack and needs coping. So
Aw.
I just like that element of him that he's got that devil smile, but it is just him, trying to get the nerves out.
Mhm.
And then I also just like his powers. He's like the foot version of Bakugo from My Hero.
Oh,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
he's got like the bombs in his hands, but he's just got like fire in his feet. It is kind of weird, but it's weird enough that it makes him unique as a main character. Besides Shinra, I like Arthur, and I didn't like him at first. I thought he was kind of a dork. That was kind of a loser.
You really think so?
I thought so. I was like, because I don't really like knights either. Like that's not my genre of. I've been defending this a lot lately, but my genre is not like knights and magicians and goblins and all that stuff. I do like sci-fi and superheroes,
Mm.
but
Okay.
the fact that he's a knight, I'm like, whatever. It's kind of what kind of whatever. But he has like a scene where he it's after training with your favorite character, and then he does like this knight samurai thing where he's like, I'm a knight samurai. And he's like, but then it's not working. He's like, no, that makes me a samurai. He's like, I'm a samurai knight. And then he's just standing there. Yeah, it's like very Demon Slayer too. So he's just like standing
Yeah.
there, and then everybody's like trying to attack him, and he's like slicing them like super quick. But he's not even moving. He's moving, but he's moving so quick. And then he like kills that guy, like, not with his eyes closed, but like in the dark. And then at the end, he's like, you know what? I am a knight samurai. And I was like, all right, he's kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
But I feel like his character is like the more he engulfs himself into that knight character,
Yeah.
the stronger he gets.
Yeah, it's almost like a Green Lantern
Yeah.
thing. Like the more he believes that he's a knight, the more he actually is a knight.
But he's one of those slept on characters because at first you don't think he's as strong.
I didn't.
Oh, you did?
I did not know.
Oh,
No, because when
okay.
they introduced them both, Shinra and
Arthur.
they both get their ass beat by Maki, like on the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they
Maki's a
do.
badass. I love how she hates when they call her gorilla.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Dr. Stone too. There's a
Yeah.
strong character there they keep calling Gorilla, but she's just strong, man. She's strong.
She's strong. Yeah.
And then so I have some, or do you have anything else to add? Favorite characters, favorite moments?
No.
So I got some Maki verses for you,
Okay.
Sarah. So
Okay.
you can just give me a simple yes or no if you want, or we can talk about it. We can debate it. But so, for listeners of the podcast, Maki is a pyrokinetic. She's a second generation?
Second generation.
So she's almost like a firebender, but she
Without
can just
creating the fire.
she can't create fire, but she can bend it or like manipulate it, make it small, make it big, move it, as long as she's like focused on it. So I kind of paired her with some other fire users in anime. So
Okay.
Maki versus Todoroki from My Hero.
Ooh.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, she is probably like physically stronger than him.
Yeah, he's a little kid.
I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he does have the ice. That's
Yeah, I was
what do
just
you
gonna say
think?
that.
Yeah.
He does have the eyes, so
Yeah, I forgot about the ice.
I think if you put fire to fire, I would say probably Maki.
Fire to
would
fire, maybe
definitely
Maki.
win.
But because he has that
Especially if
ice,
she can manipulate it too.
yeah, she just take it away.
Yeah.
But up until like he fights, I think it's Bakugo or whatever, he's only using ice, and then he
Mm.
finally breaks into fire. But then that fire is crazy. In the world of My Hero, Maki versus Clairvoyance.
Ooh.
One of your characters.
Probably Maki. I don't.
Maki,
I
yeah.
feel like clairvoyance is more of like a like survey type. I feel like she doesn't really like.
No,
She's
like
not
super smart,
as
right?
battle hardened. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I agree. I think Maki versus Azula
From Avatar.
from Avatar.
Ooh, I don't.
I think she would KO Zuko,
Yeah.
but
Azula, I
Azula.
don't know, because Azula's like insane.
natural talent too.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Maki
that's a
can
tough
fight.
one.
Yeah, but Asula got hands. Like she's agile. Like I feel like with Maki, she's just super strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Asula is strong, but she has that agility in her. Like
That's true.
Yeah.
and she moves a lot.
That's true.
And with the lightning
And
bending.
the lightning bending too.
Yeah, 'cause I think Maki can't bend plasma, or she can't bend a certain type of like fire. So I'd give that to Azula too.
Yeah, I think so.
Maki versus Sasuke.
Go ahead.
So I wanted to break it up too, like
What
the
kind of Sasuke, man? Like
Naruto
early
Sasuke, early age Sasuke, and then even
Yeah, are we talking like Orochimaru Sasuke? Are we talking like 13-year-old Sasuke?
We'll do 10-year-old Sasuke and Orochimaru Sasuke, just because I think the Sasuke is kind of like overpowered Naruto. That's not where I fall off, but that's where I had to really push myself to watch it, because I was like, all right, now they're doing too much. Like, Shikamaru doesn't even stand a chance against this.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite characters. But we'll just say early Sasuke and then up to Orochimaru Sasuke.
Okay. I mean, he's like 10. I think she would
sort him out,
kick his ass. Yeah. She'd be nice about it.
Yeah.
Older Sasuke, I don't know, because he's got, Sharingan, and
he's overpowered at that point.
Yeah.
But she does have ways of using fire. She does have like iron owls.
Yeah, the iron owls, totally. Yeah, I don't know. They might be a little more
of a close
I wanna
match.
say evenly matched. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I definitely think she could beat Sakura. So it's kind of like a joke between me and my son.
Yeah.
I don't hate Sakura. So Sasuke and Sakura have like a different trajectory for me. At first, I liked Sasuke a lot. And then once he like teams up with Orochimaru, he became too weird. He's too emo. He's too, too emo boy. He's too sad boy for me. And I was like, I don't like this anymore, Sasuke. But then Sakura was super annoying in the beginning to me. Then when she teams up with Tsunade, that's when I really, was like, oh, she might actually like be a threat or help, an asset. So, but either way, I think Maki would like demolish or Sakura.
Unfortunately, yeah.
What about Sailor Mars?
Ooh. I don't know. I feel like they would just be friends. You know what I mean? Like, what would they have to beef about?
Oh, right. Well, okay, I like that answer. It's like a Sanji, like a trick question, like who would win between Sanji and Maki? Because Sanji would never hit her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Sailor Mars and Maki team up. All right, I like that a lot. Sailor Mars is my favorite of the sailors. Because she's got the fire powers. I don't know if you've seen, but she's got like these destructo discs, donuts that she shoots out, and she can do like a fire snake or a fire bird. She's pretty cool. And then Maki versus Wicca from One Piece.
Oh. I mean, Maki. I think she would beat her with grace. But yeah, I don't think Wicca stands a chance.
Would that even be a fair fight? Definitely Maki.
Definitely Maki. Yeah. I haven't caught up to One Piece, so that question is for you too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean she's like really stupid strong for some reason. But I don't know if she really knows how to fight. I think she just kind of like gets mad and like hits stuff.
Okay. Maki versus Mikasa. And the one I have about this is so I had a whole waifu thing that I was going to go into, but we just don't have time. But so Maki with the iron owls versus Mikasa with the thunder spears.
Oh, I mean, I gotta say Mikasa. You know what I mean? Like she's lethal.
She is.
I gotta say Mikasa on that one.
Mikasa? I give it to her too, just because she is my waifu. But I don't know.
Nice.
I think it'd be a close fight. I think it would be a close and a cool fight.
Yeah.
But I did give it to Maki.
You give it to Maki? Go ahead.
Because she can extinguish the fire and the missiles, and then they just become blood.
So, but my thing about that is that she still has the swords, though.
But
I did say with the thunder spears, but man, I think she'll beat her with her bare hands. Mikasa is crazy.
You just saying that because she's your waifu.
She's crazy. She's cold. She is cold blooded.
I know you love the crazy ones, man.
If Maki said anything about Eren, Mikasa will. What did you say about
Eren? Dead.
And then Maki versus Maki from JJK from the movie Zero.
Oh.
Maki Zenin.
Oh.
What do you think? because she's got like a staff kind of spirit thing.
Yeah.
And they do talk about how strong she is, but
I would say Maki Oze.
Maki
I feel like it would be a solid match, but I think the fire would come out on top.
I think so too.
Maki will probably win. Are
Which
you
one?
talking about like early Maki from JJK, like
From JJK?
early Maki, or like later?
So I haven't seen JJK either. I'm mostly talking about from the movie.
Oh, you're talking from the movie? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, Maki from Fire Force.
Fire Force. I think the fire would come ahead too, because she is not just a bender of fire. Like she has like
She's good, man.
She's good.
She can fight like hand-to-hand combat, and
Yeah.
like, and she's really good with her Generation 2 powers, like really exceptional. Like
And then
a lot of the Generation 2 characters are actually really exceptional when it comes to using their powers, compared to like Generation 3, where they're like, for some reason they're more kiddish, like, or maybe it's like more in their head that like, oh well, I can make fire on the spot, and
they're kind of lazy with it.
yeah,
They don't
like
really-
more lazy with
Yeah.
it. While Generation 2, like they're very creative
Yeah.
with how to use their powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the last one I have is Maka from Soul Eater.
Oh.
Maki v Maka.
I mean, I think that would be Maki.
Maki? Oh, give it to Maki.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
what do you think?
How strong is Maki? I feel like we're all going for Maki, like majority of the fights.
No, I mean she lost against Azula. And it was a close match with Sasuke, but she's what like drew me to Soul Eater. Soul Eater came out, and then this is when I was like kind of falling off of anime, but I at least watched a couple of those before. She's sick with the scythe. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
No. That's a close one. I had to give it to Maka. I give it to Maka.
You gonna give it to Mako?
I give it to Maka on that one. And then speaking of Soul Eater, there is like, I don't know if it's a rumor or even like an unconfirmed thing, but that Fire Force actually is a precursor to Soul Eater.
It's actually true.
You know, they have a little bit of that. And I do want to talk more about it if we do like a Soul Eater episode. I'll kind of like save it out of here, especially because I think this season 3 for Fire Force might be the last season, like the way that, because the manga has ended, but they do a lot of episodes per season. It's not like like a lot of the new animes that come out are like 10, 12 episodes per the season, but this was like 24 per. They're both written by the same guy, Atsushi Okubo. The fact that they both have Excalibur, and the last scene, without spoiling it, Lewis, the last scene in Fire Force, the manga, it does say, what is it? Next is Soul World. So, you know, there's like a bunch of other stuff too that we will get into. But
when you watch an anime, do you normally read the manga versus actually watching it?
Like, would you do both? Would you
Or
read and watch a manga and an anime?
Like just for my own enjoyment.
Right, yeah. But do you do both? Like, would you do one or the other?
Because you know how anime usually comes last, but some people
Yeah.
tend to watch the anime first, and then because they can't wait any longer, they just pick up the manga and just.
That's kind of how I do it. Is
Is that how you
like,
do it?
yeah, and like when I started watching anime as a kid too, like Naruto and Bleach, I watched them first and then went back and like read the manga.
Right.
But a lot of times, yeah, I'll watch the anime first and then be like, I don't want to wait 3 years for the next season. I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah.
That's what I do most times.
I feel like, in my own opinion, it's just better to read the manga, just because then you're ahead and you know what's currently going on with the story. You're
But
just
for
not.
Yeah.
For me, I don't care about being ahead. I'm only ahead of myself. Like I'm not I'm not racing anybody else to read
I'm not saying
these
you're
mangas.
racing anybody. X.
You're saying
I'm just
ahead,
more like you're ahead, like you know what's coming. So when people want to talk to you about an anime, no. I'm only done with season 1 of the anime, so I'm like basically a couple of volumes in. Don't talk to me about what Sasuke did or what he accomplished or who he beat.
I'm gonna save most of this because we have Sarah. We have Sarah on the episode, so I'm not gonna read right now. But
Okay.
Lewis is the worst in the whole world when it comes to spoilers.
Oh no.
I am the worst.
He's the worst.
Because I know stuff about anime and he likes to just watch it
At my own
unless
pace.
in his own pace.
At my own pace.
Yeah.
So
Why
when
does that
I
up
want to
that?
talk about something and he's like, no. Like, again, like not there yet. You don't ruin it for me. And I'm like, well, then who do I talk to? You're supposed to be my partner in anime.
Go online, get on a web
Get on
forum, get on a forum. But no, I do agree. So there are some manga that I read, just a manga, or maybe manga that doesn't even have an anime yet. For me, it just depends. Like it depends on what I'm reading or watching. Like I did.
Yeah.
So I remember telling you, Sarah, that I was just so behind with One Piece that I thought if I read it, that I would read it faster than I could watch it. So for me, that is how I was enjoying One Piece, even though I'm like far behind on that anyways. But like that's my medium to enjoy it. So I don't care about knowing. It's a matter of how if I want to read it or if I want to watch it.
X is a very complex dude.
I'm a very complex dude. I'm very weird with like the stuff that I enjoy.
He's like that guy that just wants to savor every single little bite. Like it's so
I do.
good.
I get
I'm here
that.
like just gobbling it down. He's like, "Go slow down." Man, I'm just trying to get it over with.
And then the last thing for Fire Force is video games and movies. So they do have a couple video games, but they are mostly just mobile games. They have like a side-scrolling mobile game, Battle of the Flame Road. They have a rhythm game, like a tap-tap kind of thing,
Ooh.
Burning Beat. And Fire Force characters are absent from like Jump Force and all those kind of games, but that's because they're not Jump manga. They're weekly shonen, but they're not part of the Jump series. But I think that that Fire Force would make a dope video game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even if they are just DLC or characters that they add to Jump Force or whatever.
I could see them being added to Fortnite as skins.
It's like Fortnite, yeah.
Fortnite takes everything.
Yeah, but that's not really
Fortnite.
And then movies, they don't have any movies, but I think with the production level that they already have, like a movie, like a Mugen Train type of like Fire Force movie would be super, super dope.
Really dope.
All right, and that's all I got. Anything else to add about Fire Force before we get into the interview part?
No, let's bounce into the interview. I'm actually excited about that part.
Yeah.
Couple of questions.
All right, so voice acting. I've been doing a lot of talking, so I'm gonna let Lewis go first. So we got some questions.
Okay.
Sarah.
So my first question would be just like an icebreaker. What was the first character you did as a voice actor?
Maki from Fire Force,
Maki,
which is kind of crazy. I started in 2019. I had done like some Walla, which is like background voices. Like if there's like a bunch of kids in a classroom, you'll just have like background chatter. But I got an audition for Fire Force because the Japanese voice actress for Maki, it was her first role as well. And so Kyle Phillips, who was the ADR director, kind of wanted to mimic that with the English. So he wanted someone with like acting experience, but not necessarily anime. And so I ended up booking it, which was wild, and had to wait like so long before I could say anything about it. And yeah, I was very intimidated because it was with a lot of voice actors that I had grown up listening to. But yeah, I've just been doing this ever since. So Maki was my very first. So I have a special spot in my heart.
And now you're still doing her. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I am.
When you started doing Maki's voice, did they give you like a guide to like how they wanted you to sound, or were they just like, do you like use your regular voice, maybe add a little bit of a higher pitch, or
they gave us like a character description. So like she's this age, this is like her personality. I don't remember exactly what they wrote. But it was just kind of up to your interpretation. And at the time, the Japanese version wasn't out at all because it was a simuldub. So I kind of was like, I don't really have any reference for like what this voice sounds like. So I'm just going to kind of like take this information and do like whatever I think a character this age in this personality would sound like. So it was kind of like me, but a little bit, I don't want to say gruffer, but just a little more like business when she's about business, and like a little more goofy when she's being goofy.
Okay.
I don't want to say I looked you up, but I did research. I did research for this episode, and I was looking at all your roles. And
I didn't stalk you. We didn't stalk you.
It's okay.
I'm a professional. I do my research.
Yeah.
I wanted this to be a good interview. So I see that you do a lot of anime. And I just wanted to ask, like, I know you have like this affinity towards like voice acting in general, but why don't you do any like cartoons or like even video game characters? Because I think you'd be great at that.
Thank you. I've done a couple of video games. One of them I think is still coming out, so I'm not even gonna talk about that. But it's because I live in Texas, it's mostly like the market. Anime is like what's here. And because I'm kind of already working in that industry, I've sort of kept going with it. I would love to at some point do like Disney, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, like Western cartoons, prelay cartoons. And video games too. I've done like some some mobile games. I was in like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the like new Borderlands that came out.
Oh,
Well,
really?
not new
Yeah.
anymore, but a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the process of anime too, I think, which is why I'm so drawn toward it because it's so different from anything else. Like you have this existing recording of actors and this existing like animation that was drawn to their voices that you then kind of get to like not necessarily mimic but also kind of mold your voice to like fit within that. And I just think like creatively for me, I just really enjoy the process of it. But also I've liked doing video games and stuff too. So this is where I'm at right now. And I'm loving it. So I kind of I'm not, I'm not picky. I'll do whatever someone
Really?
hires me to do.
Yeah. Well, because I know you have that theater background, so anime is
hmm
very like super expressive. Like I don't want to say overly
hmm
expressive, but it's just like extremely expressive. Where
Yeah.
you have no, I would love to see you in any of things. In a previous interview, you had mentioned that you wanted to play moms, like this, like you were first getting into like playing somebody's mom, and
Yeah.
so I've been going around this year telling people that this is my last year in my 20s. This is like my last Juneteenth in
Mine
my
too.
20s. This is my last, you know like Flag Day in my 20s.
Uh-huh.
So as us young people, we're I'm still young though, so that's a joke I make or whatever. But
No, you're getting old. You're up
I
there.
I look, act, feel young. Even though my last year, my 20s. Like, what do you think excites you about like playing like mom characters? Because like we have like famous moms like Chi Chi and Yor from Spy Family, but even
Mm.
like Hinata, she's a mom.
Yeah,
I've always I grew
totally.
up with her. So like
Totally.
what are you most excited about playing with moms?
I think it's just a different facet to a character that I think, it's a different type of relationship that you don't really have in any other way exactly like that. Like you can have like, have pets, but it's not the same like depth of relationship as it is with kids. And so I think that's a really cool part of a character to explore in addition to like all of their other facets of their personality. Like how is this person when they're at work versus when they're at home with their kids. And it's just like adding more layers and texture and all of these sorts of things to a character. I think that's just like exciting to me.
That's you, or
No, go ahead, man. I feel like you had a couple good questions lined up. Go ahead.
so I do. And then so stage acting. So
hmm
I'm always talking about like, so whenever we do an episode on something, I'll see if just all that it has anime, video games, and movies. And a lot of these anime have like stage plays. So we
Yeah.
talked about it, how like Death Note has a stage play, Demon Slayer has like an on stage thing. We've always talked about like Naruto. Fire Force actually does have a stage play that they've had 3 goes at it since 2020. How would you feel about like being on a stage play for Fire Force? Maybe even playing Maki, maybe playing somebody else, but just in general.
It'd be so cool. I love that. I feel like in Japan they do it a lot where they have like
They
stage
do.
adaptations of like movies and anime. I saw like a Spirited Away like live
Oh,
production
that's
that was
nice.
crazy with like all the
Hmm.
scene like switching. I think it's so cool, like telling the same story in another medium. So like approaching that differently, but also like, I don't know, using because I go into the booth and I'm just wearing whatever I'm wearing and I'm just
Right.
like in the booth and nobody's seeing me. But I think it would be so cool to kind of explore what it's like to like fully be that character, like dressed as the character. How does that
Right.
character walk? How does that character, like I think that'd be really sick.
Because I've only recently got into like, I've only seen one play in real life
hmm
or like in person or whatever, the Book of Mormon. But
Nice.
I loved it. I wanted to
It's
watch
so
Lion King, but
it's really good.
it is so funny. It is like hilarious. But besides that one, I haven't really been able to watch any stage plays because I don't want to watch them at the movies. And even when
Yeah.
Spirited Away came out, they released it on HBO Max, and I don't know. I started it, but I couldn't really like get into it. Like if I'm in the
Yeah.
theater and
It's
I don't,
different.
it's
Different
different. It's a
vibes.
different
It's just
feel.
Yeah, it
there.
is. It is.
Even though I haven't watched any, I want to support it and I want to get out there and watch, like, be part of it.
Yeah.
But on the other side, what do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely different. And one of the things I love about theater is how much of like feeding off the energy of the actors and feeding off the energy of the audience that kind of happens between like the audience and the actors. That you can watch the production of Hamilton on like Disney Plus, but
Right.
it's not the same energy that you would get if you were in the room hearing them sing this live, watching them. It's definitely different. I love trying to see shows whenever they come in town. There's like national tours all the time. And if a recorded production is the only way that I can see something, then yeah, sure, I'll do that. But anytime that I can get out and like see the show live, it's like there's like a little bit of like, I don't know if it's like magic or what, but just like something that's like a little bit different when you're in the room and like hearing it in person than like watching it on a recording.
Yeah. Or it's even like concerts. Like even recently, I've been into like watching concerts on because they have them on like Amazon Prime. I think like Kendrick Lamar had one, and then the most recent one that he did, they put that on Prime.
Yeah,
and it does make me wish I was there. And I don't know, with that, it's kind of music, and there's music in musicals. But a question I had to you is, as someone who has been on stage, what is your favorite part of like being on stage or being like thespian?
Yeah, that's a great
question. Is it the singing?
question.
Is it the acting? Is it the dancing?
I mean all of it. I'm very kind of reserved in my day-to-day life. I'm not a very, I don't like talk a whole bunch. And so I kind of love getting to go on stage and like put all of that behind me and just be like big and expressive and do all of these things and say all of these things that I would never say. And I don't get like shy about it because it's not me. Like I'm acting and I don't know. It's like it's so weird, but it's almost freeing in a way to kind of have that permission to just like go crazy and big and it's just so fun. And hearing applause for like something that you've done, like a number that you sang or like danced, is so like all the hard work that you put into it is like, okay, people are seeing this and having a reaction to it, and we're like playing off of each other's energy. I love theater.
I would think it's be kind of like instant too, like versus like you do a good job in the booth and they're like, that was good, Sarah. Versus like, you do it on stage and they are telling you right there, like that was great.
Totally. Totally. And it's like an audience too. Yeah. Versus like a director and an engineer who are like, all right, let's move on to the next line. That was great. It's like, was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah. We'll call you back to redo it again.
Yeah.
So I know with anime, these characters are Japanese or, depending on if it's a Korean anime. So we do them in English though. So you had mentioned in a previous interview that you don't really get to do a lot of accents because you are just playing these characters like consistently. But like, what are your favorite accents to do? Like, as someone who can't do an accent.
I love a good British. It's a standard you can pull out. You can use for all kinds of things. My Texas, I just do my mom as like an accent is really fun, and it comes out when I'm with family. What else have I been doing? I've been doing like Scottish lately, like probably not very good. I don't know, it's just like fun. It's very like in the back of your mouth and like your throat, and like I don't know, I do British more than anything else, just like day to day.
Your day to day, every day.
Yeah.
Calls for a lot of British accents. That's fine. I wish, man. I wish I could do accents. So
you got Jamaican.
I got Jamaican or whatever. But so speaking of British, I'll try to start Australian and it'll just end up being British, or I'll start British and they're like, that's more Irish, and I'm like, I can't. I don't even have the ear for it. Like if I hear somebody doing an accent, I can't place it.
No,
it's hard too.
I'm actually envious of people that can actually do really good accents. Even like in Spanish, us being Hispanic, like every or country has like a different accent. Like Puerto Ricans have a different accent from Dominicans, Cubans, Colombians, and I'm like, I wish I could just have that accent, like the ability to sound Colombian. Like, oh, you're from Colombia? No, it's just an accent.
Yeah.
Well, you had accent in our filler episode. Like, if we could voice any character, like who would we be?
Oh, yes.
And I said a character that's more like myself. Like I think I maybe said Megalobox. What is it? The Junkyard Dog from Megalobox, or if they ever did like Miles Morales into an anime, just because he is kind of like me already. But how do you feel about? Do you prefer to do somebody to play somebody that you're more like, because then it's like easier on the voice, but then you can be more dynamic and you can go further? Or do you like to play like something that's very far out there that you have to like reach for?
Honestly, I kind of go both ways. And lately I've been leaning kind of more towards out there stuff. Usually I love playing stuff that's more like me, because I can really kind of dig into the acting part of it and like not have to think about like keeping my voice consistent or anything else. It's just like the acting. So I find I get some of my best work out of doing like more like me. But lately I've just been having fun with characters that are nothing like me. And like, how does this character space out their words when they talk? Like, do they talk really
Right.
fast? Do they like rush the end of their sentences? Do they like have upwards inflection? Just all this kind of stuff that's, I don't know. I've been trying to branch out into characters that I haven't played a lot. So I've been like trying to mess around with like little boy voices and like how would a 6-year-old boy sound versus like a 10-year-old boy or like a 13-year-old boy. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to play with what my voice can do lately and kind of just see like I'm having fun. I'm just having fun.
That's pretty good. So and then my son wanted me to be brave enough to ask you this question.
Okay.
And I don't want to put you on the spot. And I know it's a very political topic, but
Okay.
you choose to not answer. Subbed or dubbed?
So here's the thing. I watch both.
too.
I
It's a safe space here.
No,
I do both. We have a whole episode on it about we go through the pros and the cons of both subbed and dubbed. But Lewis is team subbed all day.
Yes.
He won't even be in a room if dubbed is being played, while I am okay to watch.
Which is funny because you are
great
like a
anime.
voice actor for it.
Right. So
it's totally fine. Like,
let me just
I don't
walk
take
out.
offense.
okay.
It's different for different scenarios. If I'm just like sitting like to relax, I'll usually watch subbed because if I don't, I'm gonna hear people I know and be like taken out of it, like, oh, that's so and so, that's so and so, that's so and so, and I just like. But if I'm still like, if I'm usually if I rewatch Naruto, I'll watch dub because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And I rewatch it like once a year. It depends. It really depends. I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon in dubbed, which I'm really enjoying.
I don't watch that.
And sometimes I'll watch both too. Like
At the same
I like
time?
hearing the different. No, not at the same time. But I'll watch like in subbed and then dubbed, or dubbed and then subbed, because I like hearing how it was adapted in the dub versus like in the sub. And it kind of it's like interesting to me to see the different flavors that a dub actor brings to a character versus the original sub actor. I watch both. I just like I don't know. I don't really prefer one over the other, which I feel like I should say dub because I do that for a living, but I like both. I really do like both. And I don't take offense when people are like, ew, dub. It's like,
oh, I know.
Okay, it's fine.
Yes. Well, we go over it in the episode, but like we do have good voice actors that do give like these performances on these characters, like whether it's like screaming or crying or these fights. So,
and I think in that same episode we had, like I had mentioned too, that there is certain animes that I would watch it dub over sub.
Yeah.
And I think one of those was like Dragon Ball
for the same reason.
Yeah, totally.
Grew up on just listening to that. I do occasionally, like you said, jump back and forth where I do want to like know, like what was that samurai or ninja anime?
Ninja Kamui?
Yeah, so that one I was watching it in sub and dub, and I think I was watching it in dub first, and then I would rewatch it in sub just to like compare, how they sound or like And for that anime, I actually like it in dub.
Dub? No,
nice.
Really.
The voice acting is actually really good.
Nice.
Okay.
And their entry music. Any anime that has a freaking awesome intro music, it's just like it just sets the tone to the anime.
Totally.
I mean, when I was watching Mashle, I was watching it dubbed at first, but then I had got caught up. But then the season 2 came back, so then I was watching it subbed. I still like it like the same. So, and that one does have like a really good intro.
Which one?
Mashle.
Mashle.
I love Mashle. That's like one of my favorites. That's in my top 10. It's creeping up. I think it's number 11. It's waiting for something to drop, but then it'll be in my top 10. All right, and then I think that was the last question I had. Do you have anything else for Sarah?
Yeah, to like wrap this portion of the podcast up, for our fellow listeners or viewers that want to be a part of the voice acting industry, what kind of tips would you give them or advice?
There are so many resources online now. It's like so great. The biggest thing that I could say is like it's being an actor first versus a voice actor, because it's not just about like making your voice sound a certain way. You also have to have like truth and believability to your words, and have people believe that you are this character saying this thing. Acting classes with like community theaters or like on camera classes or anything where you can get in a group of people and act with people and get feedback will help you so much for when you're in the booth by yourself and you don't have anyone else to act with, because you have that experience of kind of playing off of another person, even when you don't necessarily have that. I want to be a voiceactor.com is a fantastic resource. It's run by, I believe, D. Bradley Baker, who's like one of the most, has like the most roles of anyone of all time, I feel like. And it's got everything from like, what kind of tech do I need? What's like mic etiquette? What are some like resources for like books and things I can read? And also just like reading out loud, I like doing, because that way you hear yourself. If you record it, you can get familiar with what you sound like. Yeah, I would say just like doing something every day to be like acting or reading, or whether that's like reading your book out loud or like going to a class or doing an online workshop. There are like tons of online acting workshops now where you can get feedback from like casting directors in LA on, you know, performing on your laptop. There's like a ton of stuff. I would say just like acting classes in general are my biggest recommendation.
That's cool. I mean, I didn't know there was so many online resources like that. That is
Yes, especially post-COVID too. It really didn't used to be like that. And now like all of the people that were doing workshops in LA or in Dallas are doing them online for anyone anywhere who wants to join. It's like, it's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Actually, listening to our voices, would we be great for any characters that you can think of?
I know you were gonna do this.
Any characters? I don't know. I mean, you're both, you know, you have really clear tones. I think you sound great. I think you would be very well suited to using your voice for acting.
Thank you.
Any parts? I don't know.
I know. I knew Lewis was gonna be fishing for compliments over here. So what about us?
I mean, yeah, you both have great voices. You're I don't know any specific parts because I don't know anything. But
it's the mics.
Yeah, it is the mics. It is the mics. Okay.
A good mic goes a long way. That's true.
That's
We've been told.
Just something also. So when we were doing your intro, you know, we have it actress, dancer, singer. Do you write any music at all, or have you ever thought about that? Or
I did when I was younger. Like I wrote music in high school. Not so much anymore because I like singing other people's music because I feel like I don't necessarily have the talent for putting emotion into like words and tunes that way, and so I like singing other people's songs. It's a lot more fun for me.
Okay, I feel that. We talked about it in a previous episode that I actually wanted to be a rapper and I wrote raps, but I don't have the cadence. I don't have like the technical, like for my own, I can write them, but I can't recite them. So I get like tongue tied on my own raps, but I can rap other people's raps, you know, so I feel the same way.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for Sarah before we move on to the last segment of the show, bro?
No, I'm ready for the last segment, man.
All right. What you're reading, what you're watching, what you're playing. So Sarah, let our listeners know what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're playing.
I am reading, I think I actually talked about it earlier, The Broken Ring. This Marriage Will Fail Anyway, I think is the whole name. Okay. I'm watching the original Fruits Basket for the first time. I never saw it growing up, which is kind of crazy. So I've been watching that and it's really fun. And I'm playing the new Paper Mario, and I'm working on a like chronological Zelda. Like I want to beat every Zelda game in like order that it came out. So I'm working on that. It's taking a while.
Where are you so far?
I'm on the first one.
Oh, okay. All right. No,
it's like so hard. But once I get past the first one, I think it'll be smooth sailing. But I'm on the first one.
I got into that recently too. Where I was trying to like just beat all the video games that I played as a kid, but never got to beat. Yeah. Dang, Zelda. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
How do you feel about Metroid? Because Metroid's coming back too.
I've been wanting to get into it. I never played it as a kid. But I just saw like I watched the new Nintendo Direct the other day and they have the new one coming out. So I kind of want to go back and like start
in
from the
difficult.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, they're hard. They're tough in the beginning. That's what it is. And I think, like you said, like the earlier the games is the least forgiving as far as like they just throw
Yeah.
you in this world and you have to beat it. There's no difficulty setting. You know, it is like that.
Yeah.
But then like later on they do kind of like get a little bit easier. And what I realized recently because I played Metroid Dread, that game is, I don't want to say super easy, but it's easy all the way up until the end. But then the boss is like crazy hard.
They're always crazy hard, especially like in those like you're saying the beginning of the games. Oh my god, man.
Yeah.
They are not forgiving. Like there's some games I just could not get past the last level, and I'm just like, God damn it, I'm this close. It's not working.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't think those games were forgiven. Like any little misstep, and you're just like fucked. You're like,
Yeah, no, we talked about it in the Pokemon episode. Like they just start and they're just so hard. And they're like made for the arcade. They're made to like eat your quarters.
Yeah.
But you know,
eat your time and patience. That's what they're made.
what about you, Kid Lewis? What you reading? What you watching? What you playing?
Oh man, reading still Kaiju number 8, man.
Okay.
It's a future episode that we're gonna do. Have you heard of Kaiju number 8 or read it?
I have, yeah. I haven't I've been wanting to read it for a while before they announced the anime. And now that the anime is coming out, I'm like, should I just watch the anime?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wanting to get into it because it looks really cool. I like the character design. It looks awesome.
Yeah. No, I love this. I love anything with kaijus. Like ever since I watched like Pacific Rim or even what is those like scary movies called?
With the kaiju?
Yeah.
Oh, Cloverfield?
Cloverfield. The first
Oh yeah.
Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Like I just fell in love with kaiju. So of course we got Godzilla and
I love Godzilla.
all those other stuff. But no, Kaiju number 8. I feel like we talk about that anime so much on the podcast.
We do, yes. Well, because you're always reading it.
I'm always reading it.
So Lewis is reading it. He said, and you know, I started reading it. I did kind of put it down, and I started the anime. But Lewis was talking about how the animation isn't like as great, and I'm not a fan of CGI in anime, but I give it a pass with kaiju because the designs are still there, and you kind of have to have like this monster, like if it's going to be believably big. But like with Chainsawman, I love the manga, but I hate the anime. Hate is too strong a word. I don't like the anime because of it being CGI. So you know, just to your question or whatever about whether you should read it or watch it, I don't know.
I'd rather read it. I'm enjoying it so much reading it than watching it.
But I'm having more fun watching it. I feel like because it's still funny and it's still, you know, the same story, but.
No, reading it is just I just love it. So I've been reading it and then watching. I'm still watching Kaiju number 8. Like I'm still catching up with the episodes.
No, really, it's not that many. I think it ends like
it's about to end pretty soon.
Like a couple weeks.
Like maybe 1 or 2 episodes left.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna finish up.
Yeah, that'll be our next episode after this one.
And then you just sent me the other day that they have a video game.
Oh, I did.
And it looks interesting. It looks pretty good actually. I'm surprised because there was a point where they were announcing that they were going to discontinue Kaiju number 8 because it wasn't as popular.
The manga,
before the anime even came out. And then I was like, God damn, like it's just getting good. I'm really liking it. And I'm like, for them to like not finish it up, that would be so messed up.
Yeah.
But now out of nowhere, like, oh, we're gonna make it into animation. And then the animation's not even done. We already have a video game for it. I'm like, when did it become so popular? Like,
all of a sudden,
ready to cancel it,
right? Well,
so watching Kaiju number 8 and Hajime no Ippo. Yeah,
you're watching that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It is on Netflix. I did put it on the other day.
They just added it, so I've been watching that.
Have you seen that? That is a good anime.
It's like old school anime. Like it's what is it, the 90s or 80s?
I think so.
I think it's earlier than that.
Earlier?
Maybe late 90s or late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. So the animation is so different. Yeah, it's so it's so inappropriate.
Oh my god, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun and
there's some
enough.
Jokes where I'm like, whoa, they're crossing the line.
No,
this is stuff that they wouldn't put now.
Oh my god, now
we talked about this. We said like they were more open with like uncensored and etchy and like more adult jokes.
But even in Fire Force, like her Maki's fight with that guy in the sewer or whatever, the way it ended was like he put his hand on her breast by accident. Then the other girl beat him on the head, and I'm like, so that anime comes out of left field sometimes like that, and I'm just
in Fire Force,
Yeah.
they have that one character where her clothes is always getting burned off. I can't remember her name.
Tamaki, yeah.
Tamaki.
Yeah, where her clothes is always burning off or something. She's
Yeah.
always-
Which is one of those shonens, like that. But that's a newer anime, and that has like, anime always has that.
It's is this a line, but just old anime just crosses that line. Like it's like
Yeah,
they're
it
Not
constantly
disrespectful though.
finding ways to like push the borderline. Like
A
how
little
far
bit.
can we get
A
away
little.
with something?
Yeah.
And then playing, so I have bad news. Unfortunately, my PS5 broke.
Oh, yes, you told me.
There was
No.
a outage in my house, and I guess it burnt something in the PS5, and it just hasn't turned on since then. So
Oh.
I haven't been able to play my PS5. So I've been on my phone, and I just downloaded
no.
Monopoly Go.
Oh, you did. Wow. Wow.
Okay.
I know.
Oh my
Word.
gosh.
I've been debating because I really want to download Solo Leveling.
I sent that to you
Mm.
too.
You sent that to me, and
Yeah.
I actually was looking. It looks really good. Like,
Yeah, because
and I've been telling you that I've been aching a little Solo
What?
Leveling since we've been waiting for season 2.
yeah.
So I might download that just to give it a try. But so far, just Monopoly Go, just because it's so quick and it's just like just one button press and just rank some money, buy some property, and just continue.
Yeah,
On.
because we had talked about it in one like maybe the Sales at Work episode because they're doing a Monopoly movie, and Monopoly Go is one of those. It made over like $2 billion, that mobile app.
Yes.
So
It's
That's
a good thing
crazy.
though. Like there's like every time you run out of dice rolls, $5 will get you 90 more dice rolls.
I know.
You're like tempted. You're like,
you pay? Are you paid, Ebro?
no, I can't do it. Like DLCs, it's really hard for me to give up my money to just buy like DLCs or extra skins.
Even on a video game like
Even
a
on video
console?
games, yeah.
Really?
I'm just like because I feel like I'm already invested my money in this game. I went out of my way to pay the $70 for this game.
Yeah.
But then to be like, oh, for another $15 more, you can unlock this, and that. I'm like, no. I already gave you enough of my money. Let me enjoy what I can enjoy. I don't know if I'm being stingy or
it depends.
Is it just me?
I don't know. How do you feel about
Why,
that? How do
do
you feel about microtransactions? And because we did talk about it a little bit in a different episode.
I don't love it. And I feel like now they're like, there's kind of a trend where they'll like release the game and then like release a bunch of like subsequent DLC where it's like, I feel like before they would just release that all in one game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't love it. I do purchase DLC, but
I do if I play the game like when I played what is that game? Cuphead. So I played the hell out of Cuphead. And then they added the DLC, and it looked like it put enough into the game where I was like, okay, it's not a full sequel, but I'll pay for that. Or then how do you feel about free games that have like Fortnite? Like the game itself is free, but then you pay for all the extra stuff.
With the free games, especially like with like apps and stuff with microtransactions, I don't mess with those because it's so, like you said with like the Monopoly Go, it's like, oh, you're out of rolls, pay $5 and you get 90 more, and then you just like do it over and over, I don't know. Yeah, it does. It really does. I feel like there's like
$5 is a lot, but then you check your
but then
bank
you do
account, you already
$5
spent
15
$100, and you're
times.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of, what I'm reading, watching, and playing.
Yeah, Xavier, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you playing?
So I'm playing. I'm still playing God of War, and that has a free DLC. So I made a bet with my friend that I'm going to be able to beat God of War and the DLC before the year is over. Because Sarah, it takes me forever to play video games.
Sarah, let me just put you like a little inside joke. So when we started the podcast,
Our first
Xavier
episode, I know,
had lined up at GameStop to purchase God of War.
I got the day one edition.
Day one edition. And this was what, like 2 years now?
2 years ago.
And he still hasn't beat it yet. And we still talk about it on the podcast. Every episode. We're like, how far
you're taking your time. Right? You're exploring every part of the game. I get it.
Not even. I'm trying to get through it.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
I used to, go off and because every couple rooms will have a puzzle where you have to like, line up and I'm like, I can't have time for this. I have to get through the game.
Xavier's like a slow eater. Like
I am.
You're done eating your food and he's just still at it, and you're like, bro, we gotta go. So the waitress keeps coming up like, are you guys good? Are you guys good?
Hungry people outside.
People are waiting for your table. Let's go, Xavier.
So I'm playing God of War. I haven't got to the DLC part, but I am at the end. And I am playing Mortal Kombat just because I've been watching The Boys.
Yes.
I've been watching The Boys. Oh my
Neeson
God.
is so great.
That is
man.
my absolute favorite show right now.
The Boys and Gen.
Nice.
I haven't seen Gen V
You
yet.
gotta watch Gen
I kind
V.
of want to watch Gen V now, just because, you know.
And I'm telling you, I'm so into this whole like anti-hero and heroes turning into villains. And bro, Homelander, he needs to go.
He's
man.
crazy,
He
bro.
is a freaking
He's
maniac.
He's crazy.
I'm surprised that they still haven't came up with a plan to get rid of this man. They should have treated him as Batman. Like Batman always has like a way to get rid of Superman if needed. If Superman ever went rogue, that's what they should have done for Homelander right from the bat. Like he was already strong enough. He is the number one like hero or villain, whatever you want to view him. They should have had like an alternative plan to get rid of him if needed to be. And I'm surprised they didn't. I'm like,
I mean, they're trying. That's what the mission of the show. But
that is, but it's already too late at this point. And that should have been established from day one when they made him. Like
the same people that made him should also think of a way to kill him.
Should have treated him like they should have been like Batman. Batman would have created Superman and still had a way to dispose of him if needed be.
I just love that show. That show is so amazing. That show's my favorite show right now.
Amazon Prime's killing it right now.
Right?
With that show. Oh my God.
So watching that and then reading, I am reading this new. So I'm back into comic books now. I'm reading this comic called Ghost Machine. That one's really good. It's like a new team up kind of like Avengers style. And Rook. Yeah, we'll put in the video version, but that and then even Marvel. Marvel has this new event that they're doing called Blood Hunt, which is like their first to like mature comics. So they have like blood and vampires and people like getting chopped in half, and it's like really gross and grotesque, which, you know, I kind of like that.
No, I do. I love those like really grotesque adult comics, blood and swearing. And
the swearing and the sex is not really like, you know, it's plus or minus to me, but definitely just like the fact, like when they do something so shocking, and sometimes it is just for shock value, but man, like that primitive part of me just loves it. You know, just love to see it. But yeah, that's what I'm reading, watching, and playing, man. So I say, bro, I want to wrap up the show.
Yeah, let's wrap up the show.
First, I want to say thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for being on this episode.
Yeah.
Had a lot
Thank
of
you
fun.
for having me.
Come back anytime you want if you're ever just bored.
Thank you, normies, for tuning back to your favorite anime podcast. Again, a huge thanks to you, Sarah, for coming up.
Thank you
with us and hanging out with us and being a part of this awesome podcast that we have built. And if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, don't forget to subscribe and give us 5 stars. If you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, also give us 5 stars and leave a very complimentary sandwich review, which we will read out every other episode. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and give us a like once we post this on YouTube. And like we say at the end of every episode,
tune in next time for scenes from the next episode of the Hyperbolic Podcast.
And we're out. Deuces.